U.S. President Donald Trump said on Thursday that he had struck a deal with Chinese President Xi Jinping to reduce tariffs on China to 47 from 57%. That is in exchange for Beijing resuming U.S. soybean purchases, keeping rare earth exports flowing, and cracking down on the illicit trade of fentanyl. Trump spoke to reporters aboard Air Force One.
I think pretty soon. We have not too many major stumbling blocks. We have a deal. Now every year we'll renegotiate the deal. I'll be going to China in April, and he'll be coming here sometime after that, whether it's in Florida, Palm Beach, or Washington, D.C.
His comments came as he was flying back to the U.S. after face-to-face talks with Xi in the South Korean city of Busan. It was the two leaders' first meeting since 2019 and marked the finale of Trump's whirlwind Asia trip, on which he also touted trade breakthroughs with South Korea, Japan, and Southeast Asian nations. Ahead of the meeting, Trump and Xi spoke to the media.
And we're going to have a very successful meeting, I have no doubt.
And as they sat down with their delegations, Xi told Trump via a translator that it was normal for the two leading economies of the world to have frictions now and then.
We do not always see eye to eye with each other.
World stock markets from Wall Street to Tokyo had hit record highs leading up to the meeting. That was on hopes of a breakthrough in a trade war between the world's two largest economies that has upended supply chains and rocked global business confidence. Trading in global stocks was choppy as Trump revealed details of the deal, with major Asian indices and European futures swinging between gains and losses. The meeting, which took place on the sidelines of the APEC summit, as Xi was flying in and Trump was flying out, lasted nearly 2 hours before Trump shook hands with Xi and escorted him to his car. Trump was then given a red carpet send-off at the airport as he skipped the main sessions of the APEC forum. Trump repeatedly talked up the prospect of reaching an agreement with Xi since U.S. negotiators on Sunday said they had agreed on a framework with China. But with both countries increasingly willing to play hardball over areas of economic and geopolitical competition, many questions remain about how long any trade détente may last.
President Donald Trump has ordered the U.S. military to resume nuclear weapons testing.
We have more nuclear weapons than anybody. We don't do testing. We've halted it many years ago. But with others doing testing, I think it's appropriate that we do also.
It wasn't immediately clear if he was referring to actual detonation of a weapon, something the U.S. hasn't done in 33 years, or merely the testing of nuclear-capable missiles. The announcement came just minutes before Trump was set to meet Chinese President Xi Jinping in South Korea for trade talks. Trump posted the directive on Truth Social, saying the Pentagon will begin testing America's nuclear arsenal on an equal basis with other nuclear powers. He said he had to act to ensure Washington keeps up with rival powers, adding that test site locations would be decided later. Asked whether the world now faced a higher risk of nuclear war, Trump dismissed the danger, saying U.S. weapons stockpiles were well locked up. He added that he would welcome denuclearization. Trump's call to restart testing comes as China rapidly expands its arsenal, and just days after Russia claimed successful tests of a nuclear-powered cruise missile and torpedo. The U.S. leader has criticized Russian President Vladimir Putin, saying he should focus on ending the war in Ukraine instead of launching missiles. According to Washington-based Center for Strategic and International Studies, China has roughly doubled the size of its arsenal to an estimated 600 nuclear weapons in 2025 from 300 weapons in 2020. The Arms Control Association says the United States has a stockpile of 5,225 nuclear warheads and Russia has 5,580. Meanwhile, Trump has given South Korea approval to build a nuclear-powered submarine, effectively admitting Seoul to a small club of nations possessing such vessels. The submarine will be built in a Philadelphia shipyard where South Korean firms have increased investment. The approval comes after Seoul agreed to buy vast quantities of U.S. oil and gas.
The centrist D66 party has made huge gains in Dutch elections as the party of far-right leader Geert Wilders lost support. With 90% of the votes counted early on Thursday, D66 and Wilders' Freedom Party were both projected to take 26 seats in the 150-seat lower house of Parliament. That opens a path for D66 leader Rob Yetten to form a government and become the country's youngest ever Prime Minister. He hailed the result.
This is an historic election result because we've shown not only to the Netherlands but also to the world that it is possible to beat populist and extreme right movements, and I'm very eager to cooperate with other parties to start an ambitious coalition as soon as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ja, ik had zelf graag.
Speaking to reporters, Wilders said he was disappointed with the outcome and would likely not be part of the next government if the centrist D66 was confirmed as winner. One of Europe's longest-serving populist leaders, he is known for his anti-Islam stance and lives under constant protection due to death threats. During the campaign, he proposed banning asylum, deporting male Ukrainian refugees, and cutting aid to fund energy and healthcare. His party won the 2023 election and formed a conservative coalition, but his partners refused to endorse him as Prime Minister. Wilders then collapsed the government in June over their rejection of his hardline policies. The popularity of 38-year-old Yetten surged in the past month as he campaigned on a promise to resolve a housing shortage, invest in education, and tackle immigration concerns. Supporters celebrated in The Hague after the exit poll was announced.
My mood is fantastic. I'm very excited that we're going to have the first homosexual Prime Minister of the Netherlands, and also one that is combining all the positive forces and is going to be the leftist but also centrist in the middle Prime Minister of the Netherlands. I'm so excited for Rob. He did a very well campaign.
With 76 seats required for a majority, D66 will likely need a coalition with at least 3 other parties. One scenario is a pact including the Conservative Christian Democrats, centre-right VVD, and Greens Labour. All major parties have ruled out governing with Wilders, and coalition talks are expected to take months.
Jamaicans waded through flooded streets and debris on Wednesday after Hurricane Melissa, the strongest storm on record to hit the Caribbean island, left behind a trail of devastation.
When we say flat, all who have decos flat, all who have zinc flat, come, we need help now!
Hours later, the storm roared into eastern Cuba, where it weakened to a still powerful Category 3, slamming into the city of Santiago and flooding rural land. Melissa hit the southern coast of eastern Cuba with maximum sustained winds of 120 miles per hour, according to the U.S. National Hurricane Center. Footage showed torrents of water rushing through roads and people navigating flooded areas outside homes.
Big up yourself! Food, everything gone! Everything gone!
Melissa had roared ashore near Jamaica's southwestern town of New Hope on Tuesday as a Category 5 hurricane. The historic storm demolished homes, knocked down swaths of trees, and washed out roadways. Authorities did not yet release details of fatalities, but said they expected some loss of life. On Wednesday morning, Jamaicans began to assess the damage.
It was terrible. The wind, it was violent. It was terrible for all of us. I have a son here, and believe me, he was actually crying. So we were all full up, and we was just weeping when we hear the breeze. So it was terrible.
Meteorologists at AccuWeather said Melissa ranked as the third most intense hurricane observed in the Caribbean. Scientists say hurricanes are intensifying faster with greater frequency as a result of warming ocean waters caused by greenhouse gas emissions. The storm was expected to weaken some as it crossed Cuba, but would remain a dangerous hurricane upon reaching the Bahamas.
OpenAI is laying the groundwork for one of the biggest IPOs of all time, eyeing a valuation of up to $1 trillion. 3 people familiar with the matter said the ChatGPT maker is seeking to raise at least $60 billion, but they say talks are at an early stage and plans could still change. OpenAI CFO Sarah Fryer has reportedly said the company is aiming for a 2027 listing, but some advisors predict it could even come late next year. CEO Sam Altman earlier said that an initial public offering was the most likely path for the firm's future, given how much money it needs to train and build AI systems. While revenue is set to hit an annual rate of about $20 billion by year-end, the sources say losses are also mounting. Now, the IPO plan comes after news of a restructuring deal with Microsoft that frees OpenAI from its nonprofit roots and paves the way to finance Altman's ambitious plans to develop data centers and cutting-edge tech. The deal gives Microsoft, one of OpenAI's biggest backers, a stake of about 27% in the company after investing $13 billion. A successful offering would also mark a major win for investors such as SoftBank, Thrive Capital, and Abu Dhabi's MGX. AI is currently driving a surge in public markets. Earlier this year, AI cloud company CoreWeave went public at a $23 billion valuation and has roughly tripled since. On Wednesday, chipmaker NVIDIA became the first firm to reach a $5 trillion market value, powered by a rally that has cemented its role at the center of the global AI boom.
This pile of crushed, non-recyclable plastic waste was destined for the landfill or incineration, but a Hungarian company says it has found a way to turn it into road-ready concrete, replacing much of the stone normally used in the mix. Károly Bush is the inventor behind the waste-based concrete.
Usually, these plastics end up in the incinerator or landfill. I don't know of anyone else utilizing it in the way that we are. Obviously, there have been various attempts to use these types of waste, but so far, nobody has found a solution in such a scale and quantity.
The Budapest-based company is called Makropa, and it uses a proprietary powdered additive and standard mixing gear to bind shredded mixed waste into a lightweight concrete called waste-light concrete, or WLC. Unlike plastic roads that melt small amounts of plastic into hot asphalt, Makropa says its approach remains concrete. The waste stands in for stones rather than asphalt binder. The process uses waste consisting mostly of plastics and foams, but can also include glass, polystyrene, sawdust, incinerator bottom ash, and cigarette butts. Károly Bush calls it the gravel of the future.
The incinerator and the landfill are the worst solutions. There are only better solutions than those if anyone can utilize them.
Makropa says its lightweight concrete targets waste streams that are hard to process and tend to end up in landfills, citing an estimated 30 to 40% share of total solid waste as difficult to handle. It also says the material can be broken up, reshredded, and reused.